Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. I hope that you guys are all having an amazing Thursday. Today was the natural gas report. If you're not familiar with that, feel free to Google natural gas report or YouTube search natural gas report to learn a little bit more about it. Pretty much what that means is on a weekly basis, on schedule, every single Thursday, 1 hour after the market opens. Market opens here at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in Arizona. So at 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, this report comes out. It either pushes or pulls back or pushes down natural gas or /NG, which then has a direct influence on UGAZ or DGAZ, which are natural gas based ETNs. I wanted to do a very quick recap. I don't actually trade the report, and I've said that many times. I was trading live with the Learn Plan Profit Group, and our predictions on the report were right. But again, I never want to partake in a maybe 50-50 chance. So there's a report that is shared and there's an instant reaction. So I want to share with you or show you exactly what we mean by that. So if we move on over to /NG, you can see that there was a huge drop on natural gas, meaning that the report was not in favor of natural gas. And it became very aware that the overall supply of natural gas that they had was way above than what they had last week. Therefore, if there's a surplus in supply, there's going to be less demand, or even if the demand is the same for natural gas, again, that wouldn't have a positive influence, right, on natural gas. If there's enough supply or an excess amount of supply and the demand stays the same, that's not looking very attractive for natural gas. And that's the easiest way for me to put it. So there's this report that came out and had a direct negative catalyst on natural gas, which means that it had a negative influence on UGAZ, which mirrors or pretty much does exactly whatever /NG does. DGAZ is the inverse ETF, so this does the exact opposite. And I want to show you guys very quickly. So on DGAZ alone, I did well. My positions on this one were right around $60,000 to $70,000. I normally trade with $100,000, but none of my positions today actually amounted to $100,000, just because if you guys have watched any of my previous videos, I've been less consistent than normal. And I think it might have to do with going in maybe a little bit too aggressive when it comes down to the dollar amount that I'm trading with. So I just wanted to take a little step back, kind of like control the way that I was trading. And I really made a majority of all of this. As you guys can see, I made it right before the report came out, and this was a quick little trade. I think I made about $500 or $600 on this trade alone, and then right here I did another 500 shares, which then I ended up later selling right here. So you guys can see a total of $1,195, and then I believe I did trade UGAZ as well. There we go, $800 and 41 cents. Let it go ahead and pop up. As you guys can see there, one of the things that I wanted to focus on and hope that made sense to you guys is, why did I trade UGAZ when it had such a huge dip? This is normally what I do, but it came at a huge risk when there's an overall descending pattern on natural gas already. And I've said this multiple times that I would not recommend for you to partake in any position that offers a descending pattern, especially when there was an aggressive sell-off, because if anything, if the overall direction is a descending pattern and it aggressively sells off, it really doesn't mean that it has to recover. And all day, UGAZ did not recover. It had a very aggressive sell-off. It began to show signs of a potential reversal, but altogether did not fully recover since the natural gas report. And this is why we always empower our viewers to not try to guess which direction the natural gas report is going to be, where the natural gas report is going to go. As you saw, it would have been much easier for me just to kind of go with the flow, right? If something is showing signs of an uptrend, I don't need to partake in this huge push. Yeah, it would have been nice to have made an extra 5 or 7%. But again, at the end of the day, I could have lost 7% as well. So that's equally, when it comes down to the risk, it's just not worth it. I felt like I played it pretty safe when it came down to my positions, my entries, my exits. I had a huge focus on overall direction. And then when I began to see, this is, I just want to share, why did I actually take a position on UGAZ? Well, I began to see UGAZ consolidate. It began to formulate a support. It began to actually make higher highs. It broke above the overall SMA line, and it began to change its overall direction. Because of that, I found that to be attractive. And again, I accepted the risk, ended up paying off today. It doesn't have to pay off every single day. But I just wanted to do a very quick recap on how I traded UGAZ. And then when it comes down to my trade on DWT, made $927. I gave back a little bit of my profits on DWT just due to one bad trade, but there was a huge change of direction on DWT, and this happened out of nowhere. There's no report that was released today for DWT, but altogether a very, very aggressive sell-off, and this is why it's so important to manage your risk, even when something does begin to show signs of an uptrend pattern. So right here, again, it had a very clear direction of making higher highs and higher lows, very easy to trade there, and then it broke its pattern, began to make these lower lows and these lower highs, ultimately changing of market. I kind of struggle with how to keep up with that. So because of that, I just decided to no longer trade it. And then I didn't trade UWT or anything like that. So I wanted to do a very quick recap on my overall day, kind of like how I approached the natural gas support. For those that are part of Learn Plan Profit, I was posting updates of when natural gas was pushing up or pushing down or overbought or oversold. And my biggest focus today was kind of focusing on whatever was showing signs of an uptrend. Even when I did take my position on UGAZ, I had a very clear understanding that it was no longer selling off, and it was consolidating enough that it made sense that it could reverse up. It didn't have to fully recover, but at least the direction at that point was no longer selling off. So wanted to do a very quick recap. Wanted to invite you guys to our free Facebook group. We have over 227,000 members. That's going to be that first link down below. If you have any questions or suggestions on how we can better improve these videos, feel free to so again, if the overall direction is not in your favor, if you're struggling to identify a consistent pattern, take an early break to the weekend, and there's no reason to take a trade to put yourself in a bad position. So altogether, I wish you guys an amazing rest of your week. Continue working hard, continue following dreams, let your passion be what drives your success. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take